I want to talk to you then about that conversation, migration we're just having, this whole notion that we can even cap the numbers now to the tens of thousands. That ship, pardon the pun, has sailed, has it not? These are Robert Jenrick's and Co.'s 30-odd point plan as to what we're going to do to fix the issues.
Well, Robert Jenrick has ambitions of being, I think, leader of the Conservative Party.
He's got a new haircut, I noticed.
New haircut, snazzy dress sense, lost weight. It's all there. And now he's put the icing on the cake by talking about tens of thousands, just as David Cameron did, just as Margaret Thatcher did, by the way, in 1979. That's how long the Tories have been using this precise line. Look, tens of thousands is what he's saying. We've had 1.3 million net migration in the last 2 years. There's obviously a huge gap between those two places. What I would say is that the UK right now has around net emigration of around 500,000. Now, of course, not all those people are Brits. But even if you go back to 1997, net emigration was around 200,000. We have a birth rate of 1.49, again, significantly lower than even 20 years ago. And what I don't like about this whole conversation is that people like Robert Jenrick aren't being honest about the costs of going to tens of thousands in terms of migration really quickly. What it would mean in terms of inflation, what it would mean in terms of collapsing higher education, because you'd have no students. And I don't think, like I say, he's being honest. There'll be massive, massive costs. If he said, within a decade, we can reach this point, I would say, this isn't sloganeering. That's quite plausible, actually. But he's not done that. He's talking as if this can be executed next year, 2 years' time, with no downsides. There would be massive downsides. So I don't think he's being honest. I think it's electioneering.
Do you think it's a bit odd, though, bearing in mind that he was the immigration minister for a year?
Quite.
And actually, things were quite significantly out of control during that watch. So, you know, if you'd have managed to really positively grab a hold of these things, and yes, OK, you can argue it might have been going in the right trajectory, but notwithstanding that, it was off the scale. And if he'd have got a great track record, then I might have taken this a little bit more seriously.
Well, if he said, look, I think a good number in the short term is 250,000, 200,000, but I'd like it to be like this in 10 years' time after 2 parliaments, I'd say, OK, this sounds like somebody with a plan. You can agree or disagree. Like you say, judge politicians by their actions, not their words. Priti Patel was the most liberal Home Secretary on migration this country's ever seen. Now, of course, if you had a speech from her, you would never think that. But she was a Home Secretary when 1.3 million people net migrated to this country over 2 years. So I would say judge Mr Jenrick, as with Ms Patel, on his actions, not his words.
One of my viewers, Chris, says, a 36-point plan. Michelle, they can't even follow a one-step plan when it comes to the Rwanda plan. So why would we believe that this is any different? One of the other things that was suggested was perhaps breaking up the Home Office. And one of my viewers here says that would be an absolutely great idea. Sorry, the civil service, they're talking about the viewer, that it would be an absolutely brilliant idea. You need to pull the civil service into line and do the job that we pay them to do, starting with perhaps returning to the office. What do you make to that suggestion about separating and breaking things up?
The thing is, the last thing we need is more bureaucracy. Everything is far too convoluted as it is. If we're going to have a department specific for migration and for making sure that our borders are protected and it meets it meets the objective that's been set out, absolutely. But I think we could be meeting these requirements now if there was genuine appetite in the Home Office and with regard to central government, as I said before already. So, by all means, split the Home Office if it will help, but I think we could actually be taking action now.
Well, he wants to split it because he wants to create a Department of Border Security and Immigration Control.